Hello, hello, hello. Hello, my women evolving ladies. Okay, we are getting started on call 3 today, and I am so excited to be here with you. I just need a little lippy, two, and a little sip of water. How are you all feeling? Hello, Damali. Hello. Those of you that have had time to practice the visualization of meeting your goddess and experiencing, connecting deeper into this feminine power, everything that we've been going through in this program so far, I am so excited to build on it. And today we are going to be talking a bit more about the science and the physiology of connecting to this power within yourself. And I just want to start off by addressing a few feedback and questions that have come in so far. First of all, Erin, you mentioned that you were kind of having trouble visualizing and seeing it really clearly, and that's totally okay. Something I would encourage you would be to repeat the process and think of it like an oil painting, like on a canvas. And I feel like I just said that weird, like a canvas, like a canvas. An oil painting on a canvas where the artist starts and they put down some big brush strokes. And you can't really tell what the painting is going to be yet on day one. And then they come back into the art studio the next day and they add some more colors and more brush strokes. And the more often you visit the painting, or the more often the artist comes back to creating this masterpiece, the more clear the picture becomes. So give yourself permission to approach your visualization exercises like that. And I'm a little bit chilly today. We got a new thermostat that's like supposed to be very posh and high end and mobile app version, and it doesn't seem to quite be working right. So the temperature in our house has been like sweltering hot, and like I'm a little bit cold. So I have a scarf. I'm a little bit bundled up today. But I am very excited to be here. And the other thing is, Damali, you actually had asked a question about how I transitioned, and I'd love to know more about specifically what support you're looking for. But I believe what you were asking about is, how did I stop, like shift, transition, heal the part of myself that needed to feel like I had done something and earned goddess time. So let me know if I'm understanding your question correctly on that, because I think that's what you're asking support on. And if that's not what you're asking support on, clarify and I'll make sure I answer your question completely. But the gist of what I was hearing, I thought was a really powerful and valuable thing to bring up in this space for those of you that maybe can relate to that process of, the conditioning, a lifetime of, I have to earn a reward. I can't just relax. I can't just enjoy the moment because there's so many things to worry about, or I have to prove that I'm good enough in some way. Yes, that's what you're asking about. Also, I'm not sure what HEU means. And it's such a common occurrence that to do nice things for ourselves, to be good enough, to feel worthy, we put all these conditions and expectations on what we have had, like what do we need to do? Who do we have to be? What accomplishments do we need in our life? And also, hey. And when we look for external validation of being worthy and being good enough, there's always a reason that we're not. We can always find evidence and like proof of not being good enough if that's what we're looking for. And so one of the most powerful ways that I shifted this within myself is I would notice my self-talk. And first of all, I made a list of all the ways I could be treating myself better. And it became, something, it was like a living document for me. So it was something I was adding to consistently. And when I first started, it was like manicures, pedicures, massages. Like I said, it was like spa type stuff was the only thing that my conscious brain was really allowing as, treating myself like a queen and being really nice to myself and spoiling myself and pampering myself. And what happened was by, first of all, thinking outside the box and getting creative, you know what? I could just really focus on enjoying this meal, even if it was a bowl of cornflakes. By taking time in the shower. And this really, really went next level for me when I was pregnant, because, so this is work I had done years before, but it's like, it went super next level when I started getting a belly with Jackson, because all of a sudden I got panicked about stretch marks. And so it was like, I felt this, I didn't want stretch marks. And I know that so much of that is genetic. I can't really control it. But what I could control was lotioning my belly every day. And so I knew it wasn't a guarantee not to get stretch marks. I could also control eating really healthy foods and making sure I was moving my body every day to keep the muscle tone healthy. Again, no guarantee that I wasn't going to get stretch marks. But I started enjoying the ritual of lotioning my body after the shower, which is something I don't always do, or I hadn't it's like, it was, sometimes I would, sometimes I wouldn't. And by creating this ritual where again, it only took 2 minutes, and it wasn't about it being a fancy lotion. I think I was using the cocoa butter something that is like $4 at Target that a lot of people had recommended, works really well. But it was the practice of really appreciating and finding joy and gratitude for being pregnant, and celebrating that my body was creating the miracle of another life, and it was growing inside of me. This baby was happening, and based on everything I had been through, all the fertility struggles and losses along the way, like, this was just next level. And so I didn't really care about stretch marks, but I also didn't want them. So what became a daily ritual is something that I think I did a live stream on it actually in the EQ Collective back when this was real time. And it was an eye-opening breakthrough for me, and took this, what I'm teaching now, even next level for me, about how it doesn't take a lot of time or money to be kind to ourselves, and that we can take any experience that we're having on our day-to-day basis and turn it into a chore, like get shit done, masculine energy mode, or an experience that feels good, aka goddess mode or feminine energy, or queen, regal, royal treatment. And I made a commitment to do that more for myself. And it's like I recommitted to my old list. Another thing I think will be helpful for you to hear is that when I was struggling with the worthiness and the deserving and the feeling like I had to do XYZ before I could allow myself to receive ABC, was I actually went outside of myself. And I would say, think of someone you love, maybe a sister, a best friend. Say, if they wanted to enjoy whatever it was that I felt like I had to earn or deserve, like a massage, what would I say to them? most likely I would say, girl, you deserve it. Like, not because you earned it, but because you're a living, breathing human being who's worthy of enjoying yourself. That is how I would talk to a best friend or one of my sisters. Why won't I give myself permission to talk that nicely to myself? To actually believe that. Another way I would do this is, again, I would borrow from other people. I would think about, well, did I have to be good enough to get a birthday present from my parents when I was little? No. To get a hug from my mom? No. Like, there were hugs available all the time. Did I have to do anything special to be worthy in Jake's eyes? No. All I had to do was be me. And so I started looking for evidence and looking for all the places in my life where I gave unconditionally just because someone was who they are, and other times that I had felt that from other people. And that allowed me to experience it almost like vicariously through those other interactions, and realize that I did know how to give that to myself in a different way. So I hope that helps. So for today's topic, we're going to be talking about actually like physiological ways that you can shift into this as well. So I gave you some mindset and some communication approaches that hopefully help with that. But I can't remember if I've mentioned oxytocin in this course yet or not. But really, I want to dig a little deeper into the physiology of falling in love with yourself, because there is actual science. Yes, thank you. You're so welcome, Molly. There is actual science that proves that like magnetism is like a physiological thing that is created. And so I'm going to use two examples as I walk you guys through this stuff today. I'm going to be using an example of romantic relationships, and I'm also going to be using an example of business relationships, because I want you to see that this applies everywhere in our life. And whatever examples hit your heart the most is a great place to start. So there's no right or wrong to this. But essentially, oxytocin is a hormone that we have, and that is what ultimately makes us attractive to other people, right? Like, people don't fall in love with us because of how we look, or because of our website, or because of, the amount of money we make. They fall in love with how they feel when they are around us. They don't even fall in love with us because of who we are. They, like, when they first meet us, they don't really know. They fall in love with how they feel when they are around us. And so one thing I do know I've mentioned is how, we see people in the world that we are attracted to. We're attracted to their message. We're attracted to their vibe. We're attracted to, we're just like, I don't know what it is about you. I want to be your best friend. I don't know what it is about you, but I take my money. I don't know what it is about you, but God, I can't get enough of you. And that is not something that can be, in a sustainable way anyway, kind of like crafted and curated on purpose. It exists in the place where we are being ourselves, that when we are being fully self-expressed, and when our oxytocin levels are very high. So for women, it's oxytocin. For men, when a man is in his power, when a man has like that magic where it's like, God, like all the girls always hit on that guy, and he can just close any business deal ever, and he just has his swagger happening. It's when he has high testosterone. So there's what we call in physiology, we call it the oxytocin testosterone bond. And in order for that dynamic to work effectively, like basically a woman with high oxytocin will be magnetic to everyone, and when other women that hang around her, their oxytocin levels will rise, and men that hang around her, his testosterone levels will rise. And everyone that has rising oxytocin and testosterone will feel better about themselves. So they'll want to be around this person more. So when you think about, if you want to attract a higher version of your man, if you're already in a relationship, or if you're single and you want to attract a higher version than previous relationships you've been in, the easiest way to do that is to take care of getting your oxytocin levels high. Now, something really interesting happens when people are first in a relationship. It's like there's like a flood of these emotions that happen. So it's like the honeymoon phase of things, right? Where, like your man could think about, think about an example of when you were in a relationship and like your phone went off and like you were like, oh my God, I hope it's them. And you were like, it is them. And you had butterflies and you were just like, woo, I can't wait to, I'm just so in love. It's amazing. It's the best. And we think in these beginning phases that it's because they're doing something right. That it's the things they're saying. It's the things they're doing. And this, again, is true. Imagine, when you had a client, they were just like, oh my God, this person is amazing. Or maybe you had a mentor and you're like, oh my God, this person is amazing. I can't get enough of them. And the way it's not always sustainable, right? Like think about the honeymoon phase in most relationships ends. It doesn't have to. Because it's not about you being sexy or you having your shit together and being so qualified. That's not what it is. It's literally in the beginning phases of connections when someone is attracted to you like a magnet, pulled towards you, they're inspired and they're excited, you're excited. This wears off. It's not actually that people start doing things different or being different. Most likely it's that our oxytocin levels drop. And that's where we lose the romance. We lose the novelty. We stop reacting to them the same way. And, especially in romantic relationships, it starts to feel like men just get confused. They're like, I used to say good morning and you would swoon. And now, like your man says, good morning, babe, like the same way he's always said it. And you're like, morning, whatever. Hey. And we start kind of like feeling irritated by little things that we never noticed before. Like, what? You have bad breath. Oh my God. Don't talk to me until after you brush your teeth. Don't try to kiss me. Why would you try to make out? Like, I look gross. I haven't brushed my teeth. No thanks. And there's a difference between getting comfortable and being in a, like the newness wearing off versus our oxytocin levels dropping. And what happens when our oxytocin levels drop is that we start blaming, it's very common anyway, that we start blaming the other person. Or we start, in business, we might think, I've said this 500 times, I'm not in love with this message anymore. But what the truth is, there are millions of people who haven't heard your message yet. And so if you fall out of love with your message, then no one new can start falling in love with it. And when you start delivering your message with lower oxytocin levels, it's just not going to land the same way. People are not going to be magnetized by it. They are not going to be attracted like, oh my God, I want what you have. So understanding the science of this is, it's not about we're responsible for other people's stuff, but it's, really like a woman evolving is someone who changes the world by healing herself. That's how I define it in a nutshell. And as a woman evolving, understanding that you can take responsibility for your oxytocin levels and you can change what and who you are attracting into your world, the types of clients, the types of friendships, the types of romantic interactions with your partner, or like I said, if you're single, the type of future partner that you want to be with. And so we're going to go into some specifics about how to do that. I hope you guys are excited about that. Let me know how this is landing with you, because this is something that I've known for like almost 20 years now. And I forget to talk about it sometimes because it's just like, to me, it's just like, oh yeah, my oxytocin's level low. Like, I'm not really in the mood for sex. My oxytocin level's probably pretty low. And I can go eat certain kinds of food. Or if my message isn't landing with clients, I know getting my oxytocin level up is the fastest way that I can call in new clients. It is like magic. It really is. It's why my programs have so many magic, like Magic in Motion, Magic Zone Mentorship, like all this stuff, because this stuff, it feels like magic, but I love that it is literally based in science. It's like this beautiful integration of quantum physics and energy work and our physiology. And it's why I get so excited to share it with you guys today. So when you think about, as our oxytocin levels drop in relationship with people or in relationship to our business, the most common reaction is to go into what we'll call for today's training like mothering mode. And mothering mode is actually a very masculine energy. And again, we talked about the other day, there's a time and place for, get shit done, masculine mode, and checking in with our GPS, our feminine mode. Being in our feminine mode still makes stuff happen. It just shows up more like miracles than like I did step A and then B and then I got C. Elizabeth's here, yay! So in this process of really understanding the science and the physiology of how our hormones make us so attractive, and like this is how we get raving fans, this is how we keep our love life in the honeymoon phase like permanently almost, is by understanding that if you catch yourself getting into mothering mode, that it will literally destroy the oxytocin testosterone bond that is the feel good place for everyone involved. So mothering if you think about it quite literally, put your shoes on, sit down. What do you have in your mouth? What's going on? Give me that. Oh, did you not hear me? I said this. Why are you doing that? Don't talk to me like that. Right? And this is a generational pattern that I hope after going through this program that any single woman that comes into contact with me and this coaching program, Women Evolving, that you can be the pattern shift for generations to come, and that you can be the healing force that changes the dynamic and really steps into a more powerful version of mothering that is essentially inspiring. That you lead by inspiring others rather than by telling them what to do. So if you imagine, talking to your partner like that, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? Ugh, that's so annoying. I've asked you not to do that like 85 million times. You know what? No, just get away. Get away from me. Leave me alone. I need some space. Versus, if we do that, what we're going to do is, it means you can now know, like you're probably showing up like that because your oxytocin levels are low, and that is creating an environment that's going to lower your man's testosterone And even if his testosterone is high, well, if his testosterone is high, he's going to like just not be available for it. He's going to be like, no, because when you have high oxytocin level and your partner has high testosterone level, you guys trust that there's this level of trust that's so beautiful that happens, because it's like, okay, even in uncomfortable situations, it's like, you know what? I trust you to handle yourself. I trust me to handle myself. And together we are unstoppable. And that's that's a power dynamic. And we're going to go into power communication today to make sure we take you out of power struggle and into power partnerships. And looking at, the reaction that you get from that if you're in mothering mode, like how is a man going to respond to that? Typically, we're going to get a low testosterone reaction, which is like little boy or like teenager. And how many times and I know this because I was in a lot of very unhealthy relationship in my dating life. That this is part of the dynamic that I was participating in, because I would get frustrated. I thought that he was responsible for my oxytocin levels, and I thought it was his behavior in the beginning. And I would say, well, God, remember when you used to be romantic with me? Why don't you do this anymore? Why don't you do that anymore? Like, can you do more of this, please? But my oxytocin level is not his responsibility, and it actually isn't based on his behavior. And once I learned that, I was able to start identifying when I would be showing up in mothering mode, which is essentially emasculating to a man. And I was destroying the oxytocin testosterone bond that we had in the beginning. And when I started realizing I could take responsibility for myself and take care of my own oxytocin levels, and that would have a physiological, a magnetic thing where his testosterone would rise and he would be showing up like a man and I was showing up like a woman instead of like a mother and a child, where in the past relationships I had been in, it was, very much like I'd be like, like I'd say the thing and their reaction would be like, what? Sorry. Like, oh, I don't want to make you mad. And it shifts the dynamics into a place where all of a sudden now they have to ask permission. That's not a power couple. That is not an attractive, magnetic way to be as a woman in this world. And we are so much more powerful than that. Or like a teenager, like, I don't have to take this. Like, peace out. I'm out of here. Like, blah, blah, blah. It's like, it makes me laugh. But now looking back, because I can see how obvious it was. But man, that was painful times. And think about how this shows up in our business. If I was trying to coach you, like, did you do that thing you said you were going to do? Where's this thing? Like, da-da-da-da. Ew. You didn't sign up for a school marm coach. You are magic in motion. You are already successful and amazing and qualified and fantastic at what you do. And you are, I'm going to talk to you, powerful woman to powerful woman, like link arms, like, let's go. You've got this. I've got this. Together is way better than not together. But you're not going to like crumble and fall apart if you don't hear back from me in 5 seconds. Right? Like, it's because I trust the power of you and you trust the power of me. And so how are you showing up with your clients? Again, like, I know all of you have really big growth goals for this year. And if you imagine in your marketing, you're like, come on, do this, do this, do this. I really want you to do this. You have to do this. You need this. I told you need this. Like, this is what's going to happen if you don't do this. Versus inspiring and shifting. And so this is part of the communication details that we're going to get into. Imagine the types of contracts you close when you show up in your full power with high oxytocin levels and you are just magnetic to the kinds of people that are like, I can't get enough of you. I want to be around you. I want everything that you have. Yes, give me the VIP package. And by the way, this is not like there's no part of this that's like you're not like doing this to get the end result. I just want you to understand. Like if you're like, okay, fine, I'll go do this oxytocin raising exercise and I better get this result by like, within 10 hours or else it doesn't work. The energy behind that is actually going to like kill your oxytocin levels. So like, it's like this high pressure, right? Like being in this goddess mode, being in this very feminine energy where it's just being. And so the flip side of this is like this mothering topic, right? Is that being a mother is actually 100% feminine. It's the mothering energy that is so masculine, or that is so masculine and emasculating. So when you consider like, and again, I kind of started with an example of how I would, I really became like very ritual in taking care of myself and enjoying the process of being pregnant. It's not like I was looking at my belly being like, come on, baby, grow, grow, grow. You've got to grow. Didn't I tell you to hurry up and grow? No, I didn't have to do anything. I was just being. And baby Jackson was growing. I had all the nutrients he needed. And my only job was to be. Like, that's all it takes. And being the best version of me, if I slept and ate and moved and emotionally took care of myself, his chances of growing and being healthy and going full term and all those things, me just being the environment was all I had to do. And so where in your life, whether it's in your personal relationships or it's in your business dynamics or your professional life, of showing up, trying to make things happen and do versus how are you being? And realizing that everything will fall in place if you are being the version of you that you are destined to be, that you are capable of being. And so it's about, essentially like when I was pregnant with Jackson, I was just holding space. So how can you hold space for your partner? How can you hold space for your friendships? How can you hold space for your clients in a powerful way? Good question, right? So again, in this process, part of knowing how to hold space for the dynamics in our life and in our, professional interactions that we desire. Most likely you're here because you desire more in at least one, if not all areas. And it's not coming from a place of this is broken or you're broken or they're broken or we have to hurry up and fix this. It's coming from a place of, okay, I want better than what I have been able to accomplish so far. So really understanding that the fastest way to shift this is to give yourself permission to fall back in love with yourself. Raising your oxytocin levels, being in like how you are being, what is the state you are being on a daily basis. Making room in your life to have like these goddess checkpoints, these goddess check-ins with your GPS, with your intuition, with your feminine power, with your feminine energy, multiple times a day is what I would suggest. And, really looking at this whole process of flipping the script, kind of. So if you imagine your ideal partner, your ideal strategic alliance, your ideal client, and you make, this is where a lot of relationship exercises start, is like make a wish list of everything you want. And you can start there. You probably have already done that. You probably already have a good idea of exactly what that is. But here's where we need to flip the script in order to have it actually be effective. Is, okay, if that kind of person is who I want to call into my world, am I being the ideal person for them? Is how I am being, would I match their wish list? This is where getting really honest with yourself takes a lot of courage. And it's game changer. I shared with you guys how I had broken up. I'd left a very toxic relationship. And I actually spent the next 6 months being sick with Julia Roberts. And at one point in the movie, I think she's opposite Richard Gere in that one, very much like the Pretty Woman pairing. But he basically is like, you don't even know how you like eggs. And she's like, yes, I do. I like them exactly how you like them. And he was like, And it was an eye-opening moment. I might be messing up the movie script a little bit, but the point is, she would say she liked her eggs exactly how every single person that she was dating liked their eggs, because she was trying to please them. And I realized I had been doing that in so many ways. I had been doing that in my dating life. I had been trying to be that version that I thought they would want. I had been doing that with my client relationships, like in different, I would be a slightly different version of myself in each conversation. And I was left very confused. I wasn't actually sure who I was anymore. I wasn't actually sure what I wanted. And so the first step, like I said, is to fall back in love with yourself. And it's like, maybe you need to date yourself. Maybe you need to ask, like, do I really like this outfit? Right? We had our laundry challenge in the Kaizen experience, similar to that. Really paying attention to, like, is this mine? Is this really mine? Is this still mine? Is this still true for me? Do I want to keep this thought, this belief, this preference, this whatever? And, how do you like your eggs? Because guess what? However you like them, there's a whole tribe of people that also like their eggs that way. It's not right or wrong to like your eggs one way or another. What gets really confusing and is super oxytocin level dropping is when you don't know. And you can't enjoy and you can't celebrate because you're not actually connected to it. So getting to know yourself on a deeper level, getting to really revisit, what do I like? What does matter to me? What do I stand for? Who am I, right? Like, again, a woman evolving is a woman who changes the world by healing herself. And part of healing is loving and accepting and growing. And some parts of that are uncomfortable, but a woman evolving has the courage. She knows when to be fierce and when to be tender. She knows when to be rigorous and when to relax. She knows, because she takes the time to figure it out. Yeah, it is good, right, Damali? It's game changer. So once you know your preferences and your likes and your dislikes and what you desire and what you will tolerate and what your boundaries are, before you even worry about talking about them, you have to discover them. And the next phase is then to say, okay, if this is who I desire in my life, as a romantic partner, as friends, as colleagues, as strategic alliances, as business partners, as clients, who do they desire for me to be? What version? And it's not about changing your likes and dislikes. This is why it's really important to do that self-assessment and that getting to know yourself before you try to do this. Because then it becomes, like, who's your ideal client? Damali, why would you be their dream photographer? What are they looking for in a photographer? Elizabeth, for you. your expand your brand, your product incubator, those clients that you want, who is their dream leader of this program? Who is the dream visibility coach that they're looking for? Shell, voice coach. The people you want to work with, who are they looking for to hire? And are you living up to that? Erin, like I know not all of you are live, but Carolyn, for you also, what kind of photographer are your ideal people looking for? What would be their wish list? And Erin, you're, the type, a lot of what you do is commission based. How do you want to negotiate those contracts? What kind of clients do you want to be in conversation with? And what kind of conversations do they want to be in? What kind of person do they want to be interacting with? So now, because you've gotten really clear on your desires, on your likes, on your preferences, this is not about you changing who you are. This is about you up-leveling who you are. Do you need to practice your messaging? Do you need to shift some of the words you're using? Not change the intention behind what you're saying, but use different words that will resonate more strongly with your audience. And as far as marketing goes and sales conversations and all that stuff, we get into that super deep next month. In the meantime, it's, what type of emotional capacity, what kind of people do you want to be working with? Where are they in their personal development journey? Are they highly emotional intelligent? Or if they get emotional, well, see, here's the thing. When emotions get high, intelligence goes low. Almost all the time. So even an emotionally intelligent person, right? If my emotions are getting really high, I need to step away from the conversation until I can get my emotions calmed down, because my intelligence is low. It doesn't matter how much I know in my head. It's not about how smart I am. It's not about how smart you are. It's about understanding that what level are you operating at from. So maybe before you do a live stream, making sure that you calm your nerves as much as possible and take care of and give yourself space before and after, so that you can really show up at your best and you can embody the version of you that matches the wish list for the person you are looking to attract into your life. Not being less of yourself, but by being more of and an improved, next level version, because it's about how are you being that. It's not about how much money you have in the bank. It's not about looking a certain way. It's not about, having certain things or doing certain things. It's about being. How are you feeling? How are you being? I hope this is making sense. If you guys have questions, let me know. Now would be a great time to pop them in, because I think Facebook has a little bit of a delay, and I want to make sure to be able to answer any questions. If you're having ahas and breakthroughs, always, I love hearing those as well. But essentially in this process, here's what's going to get highlighted is there anywhere in your life that you're actually holding other people to a higher standard than you're currently living at, right? So this might look like making slow decisions. If you're like, oh, I wish people would make faster decisions and say yes to me faster. Where in your life are you making fast decisions? Are you someone that takes action fast, or are you someone that needs more time? And so maybe it turns into, I'm an emotional authority. I need a little bit of time and space to make decisions. So if I'm wanting people to make super fast decisions, either I need to go ahead and take action and make a few fast decisions in my life in order to energetically vibrate at the frequency that's going to call those types of people in, or I need to recognize that that's not actually in alignment with who I'm being. And if I don't want to change how I'm being consistently, then I get to redefine maybe that isn't actually part of who I'm looking for. So it can go either way. It's not about changing who you are. It's much easier to change who we're calling in. And it becomes like magic. Another question is are you honoring your word? If you're getting frustrated that, maybe your partner said he was going to take the trash out and he didn't. This is like a mirror on the wall opportunity. anything that you are feeling your buttons pushed about, or you're asking for, or wanting, desiring more of in your life, if it's the first place to start is, are you living up to these standards? Maybe being on time, maybe investing at certain price points. Maybe it's, feeling a certain way. Maybe it's behaving a certain way. So look, before you allow yourself to go into frustration, use this mirror on the wall opportunity to say, okay, where in my life am I possibly not living up to the standard? And then if you are living up to that standard, great, you can move on and just be like, okay, I'm ready to receive it. Or if it's a problematic thing with a current relationship you're in with a client or a partner, then you can have a conversation about it, and you'll be in 1000% integrity, because you will have already checked in with yourself, and you will know that you are like at minimum living up to that standard, if not exceeding it. Right? So, really the whole energetic process behind why this works is because it shifts us from being in a place of like, do this because I said so, versus I'm being an example of this and I'm going to attract more of it into my life. Right? Like we talked about, like the mothering and the, kind of like the masculine and emasculating energy of that versus being in our feminine power. And, so if you're seeing results that you don't want, challenge yourself, be really honest. And if you are living up to those standards, then there's other approaches, and we're going to get into that more in this program. But if you notice, the flip side is to take time and really notice the positives that you're seeing, right? Like the positive behaviors, the positive results, the having gratitude for the tiniest little wins will snowball the effect and bring more of that into your world. And, like if you get a referral for someone, making a really big deal and sharing and being like, wow, I'm so grateful for that. I really appreciate you. That means the world to me. Like my business depends on it. And not only that, but it's not just helping me with my livelihood. It's making me feel really good that I was able to serve you at such a level that you trust me enough and you value our work together enough to send me a referral. Wow, like that just feels amazing. Or, like my husband has been taking the trash out. He started doing that for me when we were still dating and we didn't even live together. He would take my trash out. And to this day, Thursdays is our trash day. Every single Thursday, I guarantee you, I tell him thank you and that I appreciate him. And like, wow, it just means the world to me that I don't even have to think about that getting done, and that I don't have to smell it, and that I don't have to like, I feel like a queen and I love it. And it makes me so happy. Thank you so much for doing that. Guess what? That raises my oxytocin and it raises his testosterone, because he feels like a fucking superhero for taking the trash out. And he knows that it makes me happy. And guess what? He's going to want to do that more. He has never missed a Thursday taking the trash out, by the way. So I'm going to leave you with, and I just need to, I got a low battery alert and I get nervous about my phone lasting. So I'll take you through power communication, versus power struggles, to wrap today up and really look at, once you have these awarenesses, once you have done the work of getting to know yourself and falling back in love with yourself, or even as you're going through it, like we want to talk to people about it. We want to be able to be transparent and have love and connection and have all of our human needs met and feel important and be able to inspire others. So if you use the acronym POWER, POWER, when we are in a power struggle with someone, when the conversation is, when the communication is showing up in a way that's creating struggle, disconnect, distance, maybe hurt feelings and different things like that, here's the typical steps that I see. First of all, that the P is because the conversation starts with like proof of the problem. Hey, you didn't take the trash out. There's a lot of finger pointy, typically a blaming feel to the start of the conversation. Then we go into the O, where it's like we share our objections to the issue. Like, you didn't take the trash out and now it stinks out. I don't like that. W is work for them to do. So the other person that you're in conversation with, like, you didn't take the trash out. It smells. It makes me very unhappy. So you need to fix this. Not only do you have to take the trash out, now you have to clean the garbage cans and like spray some air freshener or light a candle or something. The E in a power struggle dynamic talks about expectations, or we try to educate them, where it's like, do you know how many germs can grow if you don't take the garbage out regularly? And I expect more from you. And I'm using the trash because it's such a small example, but can you see how like this dynamic is totally might be how you've interacted with like a previous boss or been talked to like this, or maybe it shows up in bigger things, right? Like maybe the small things you let build up. And then it's like, we were trying to make this big decision and your mode of operating is in a power struggle dynamic. And so the more emotions, the higher the emotions, the lower the intelligence. And then we go back to our conditioning. And this power struggle thing is a way more common communication approach that people have, just because stuff is not taught in schools. This is nobody, like, there aren't like, you know, people in our life that have these skills that make it a point to share it with us most of the time. And so then the R is really for essentially like reasons. And here's the reasons why I'm right. So that's a power struggle dynamic. So what if, here's my invitation to you today, is to start adopting a power dynamic, create a power duo, a power dialogue between you and who you're connecting with. Whether that's, again, a romantic partner, a colleague, maybe it's a business partner or a strategic alliance. This formula is not a script. Again, it's not about manipulating or coercing or like trying to force anybody into a box, whether it's your box, their box, whatever. But here's the shift, and this changes everything. So if this P, instead of being proof of the problem, was a positive perspective. So it's like, I'm going to use the trash example again. So if it was something like, you know, hey babe, I really appreciate that you do so much around the house. Then the O, instead of an objection, sharing an opportunity outcome. Hey babe, I really appreciate everything you do around the house. And I see an opportunity here for us to get on the same page about something that maybe isn't as important to you as it is to me. Instead of providing the W, work for them, I'm going to share a win-win. And that win might, again, like, hey babe, I appreciate everything you do around the house. I see an opportunity here for us to get on the same page about something that might not feel as important to you as it does to me. The goal of this is that I don't want any resentment building up inside of me. I want to feel connected and supported and loving towards you. And I want you to know how much I appreciate you. The E, rather than educating them about why they're wrong or giving them examples of how they're failing you, that's where we're gonna share our experience of emotions. Hey babe, I really appreciate everything you do around the house, blah, 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 blah. I feel a little nervous to bring this up because it feels like it might be a little silly. And I'm also feeling a lot of anger about it. And it doesn't make logical sense, but that's just the feeling I'm having. And I don't want to feel this way. It doesn't feel good to feel this way. And then the R, instead of reasons, we're going to share results or a resolution. And so it would be the emotions, by the way, is also where we would give a very clear, I'm feeling this way because you didn't take the trash out. So that's where we actually want to bring the problem up. And it's an opportunity to share positive feelings, feelings that feel bad, right? Like they're not negative, they just don't feel good. All the feelings that you're having, and actually identify the problem very clearly. And then the resolution would be, I would prefer, since you committed to taking it out on Thursdays, that you take it out. And if you could do that, I would be willing to, I'll get the air freshener and we can fix this together. And then, moving forward, so this doesn't happen again, I imagine maybe a phone reminder alarm in your phone might make sense. Or is there something I can do? Do you want me to remind you? Do you want me to partner with you on this? Is this something, should we hire somebody else to do this if you're no longer willing to do this? My goal here is that you and I both feel good about how this is happening. So I'm providing the results and, the resolution that I'm willing to participate in. And so again, when we practice this on little things like taking the garbage out or, the laundry or, with a client, like setting boundaries early on, like, I'm so excited to be working with you. We're going to change your life. The win-win is that, I'm so grateful that you're investing in this program with me. And I'm committed to making sure that you get all of your answers, all the answers that you're looking for. I'm going to give 100% of my best. And, part of how this is going to work is that I, again, set boundaries of around emotions. I'm available for you here. I'm available for you there. And, I don't feel good when people reach out to me with crisis questions on Voxer. If you need an SOS call, the best place to do that is to email team@bethperry.com, and Tracy will get back to you as quickly as she is able. But again, we don't run a crisis trauma center here. We coach highly responsible, successful people who take personal action. And I'm also willing to, if I possibly can be there for you immediately, I will 100%. And the outcome of this is that, you have VIP access to me, that if we see a message come in from you in email saying like help, it will get first attention from the first person that gets in that inbox, and you are going to get everything you need, because I also know that there's no way that everything is going to fall apart in 24 hours. Right? So there's a power way to have a client conversation. Let me know how this is landing with you guys. When you start bringing this approach into negotiations, into whether they're big business deals or strategic alliance partners, like, this is amazing because it gives you an opportunity to be really authentic and genuine with how you're connecting with these people. And you can basically have a problem that you can solve and share that I'm feeling really excited because I know this is what I'm seeing, is that your business would be better if I was involved in it, and my business would be better if you were sending me referrals. Like, you want to make that happen? And you've already started with positive feedback for them and, the opportunities. So this isn't just when there's a problem, but especially when there's a problem, this changes everything. So again, the power dynamic that we want to go for is positive perspective, opportunity outcome, win-win, our emotions and our experience, and then results and resolution. That is power. And when you come at this from your goddess vibes and your oxytocin levels are high, I am so excited to see what this does for you guys as you start implementing it. So we are at the top of the hour here, and I don't see any questions coming through. So I'll give it just another minute before I sign off and leave the replay here for those of you that are going to be catching up a little bit later. Any final thoughts, ladies? Okay. Well, I will trust that you have everything you need for now, and don't hesitate to pop questions about this topic in this thread. And I will look forward to continuing to support you around this process. And I will see you for tomorrow's call. I hope you're enjoying the step-by-step integration and implementation process. Taking 2 weeks for yourself to just fast track up leveling your magnetism and your power as a woman and as a, professional and as a person in general is such an exciting process. Thank you guys for being on the ride together and for being such amazing women evolving in your own right. And truly, I do believe that each of you, how you are showing up, the ripple effect is real, and how you are choosing to heal yourself and embrace yourself is part of how you will change the world. And I'm so honored to be on this journey with you, and I love you, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.